It's Monday, April 12th, and today we're going to talk about men in dresses. You're listening to Fight Knows About Everything, a Night Shift Radio original. For more information, visit nightshiftradio.com. Hi, everyone. It's Michael Fight, and we're back. You know, we took a little bit of a week off. We were just back last week when we did our weekly update of all the news, but we are back yet again with a single topic, and today we're going to talk about men in dresses. Now, this has been somewhat of a hot-button topic lately, I would say over the past year or so, and, you know, this is nothing new, and we are going to talk about the history of this, but more specifically, one of the biggest ones, of course, was Harry Styles was shown on the cover of Vogue magazine wearing a dress, and famous right-wing correspondent Candace Owens, of course, you know, went off being like, imagine, you know, thinking this is okay or whatever, you know, and it became a big thing, and a lot of people being like, you know, who gives a shit what he wore? Like, clothes are clothes and it doesn't matter. So we're going to talk a little bit about historically men wearing dresses, and also we're going to talk about how gender roles are absolute bullshit. So the first thing I want to talk about is most recently, just 2 days ago, Kid Cudi, a very famous rapper, was actually on SNL, and he performed two songs. So one, he performed, I gotta look because I don't know the songs, Tequila Shots, and he performed Sad People. So Tequila Shots, he actually came on, and this is a really interesting thing specifically for Kid Cudi, not only the fact of his generation and his genre of music, but outside of the fact that, like, this is an homage to someone that, you know, this was 30 years previously. So in his very first performance of that night on Saturday Night Live, Kid Cudi performed the song Tequila Shots wearing a green cardigan as an homage to Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain famously wore this very similar green cardigan in the 1993 MTV Unplugged show, which was just a few months before his passing, before his suicide, let's say. And then later, he came out and performed Sad People in a floral dress. Now, this is directly calling back to the time that Kurt Cobain of Nirvana was on Saturday Night Live in 1989 and performed wearing a dress. You know, this was something that Kurt Cobain was very well known for, and Foo Fighters in general, about challenging gender norms, which is something we should totally do, by the way. I am totally that person. I think gender roles are absolute nonsense. But so anyway, you know, this is the thing is, like, you know, he says, like, wearing a dress shows that I can be as feminine as I want. I'm a heterosexual, big deal. But if I was a homosexual, it wouldn't matter either. So this is, you know, this was a quote directly from Kurt Cobain. And I think that this is really important because we've seen, you know, just recently there was, like I said, the whole deal with Harry Styles wearing a dress. And then we had Kid Cudi wearing a dress. And then we've had other men wearing dresses on award shows. Outkast, Andre 3000 was very famous for wearing dresses many times, or outfits that were, you know, let's say, you know, more considered female instead of male. Also, icon Ruby Rod from The Fifth Element was actually supposed to be only wearing dresses, but Chris Tucker flat out refused. However, they did put him in a lot of outfits that would be seen as mostly feminine, you know, a lot of leopard print, tight skin, you know, ball gown type looking things. So the whole idea of gender norms is very interesting to me. Like, as a society, this is something that we have where we have things that are either masculine or feminine, and it's even built into languages for a lot of things. There are masculine and feminine versions of things in a lot of languages. Like when we think chico, you know, in Spanish, like chicas is feminine to refer to female, and you know, this goes all the way back to Latin. However, gender roles when it came to clothing is something actually rather new. So as an example, in the 50s and 60s, and even all the way through to the 70s and even a little bit in the early 80s, a couple of different things. One, it was very common for both male and female young boys, children, to be seen wearing dresses. It was actually very common for males to be in dresses in photographs up until they were about 7 or 8 years old. This was a very common occurrence, and this actually goes back to, you know, the 1800s when they would wear a more traditional, it looked like a dress, but it was just called dressing clothes. It was just your dress clothes. So the whole idea of, like, wearing a dress is something that, was not masculine or feminine. It kind of evolved to that way. And another big one is up until the 80s, pink was seen as a masculine color. And actually in the 80s, the color schemes flipped, and they ended up, it was very popular for men in the 80s to wear pink because it was considered a masculine color. In fact, in the 50s and 60s, it was also very common for men to wear pink shirts or pink ties because, again, it was seen as a strong masculine color. Same thing, with all the lighter colors, whereas women were supposed to be more dark and subdued. But that also kind of flip-flops to the masculine, feminine, the kind of like the patriarchy of like, women shouldn't be flashy, they should be, off doing their duties, and men are the ones that are supposed to be flashy. We see this going back to, again, we're talking the 1800s of fops and dandies, people who were very fashion forward and fashion conscious, men wearing heels, men wearing makeup, wigs, fancy clothing, tons of jewelry. This was very common for men up until only, 100 or so years ago. And I would say is still very common to this day. So the idea of gender norms, they're really society driven, and they don't really mean anything when it comes to biology. Like when it really comes down to it, a man wearing a dress does not change anything about him whatsoever, especially if he identifies as a man. The fact that they put on a piece of clothing means literally nothing. You wear pink, it means nothing. You are not masculine or feminine. You are literally just wearing colors and clothing. Colors and clothing do not define you as a person, as a human. Now, it may be a way to express your personality. I pretty much wear white shirts or black shirts every day. I am a very simple person when it comes to that. I'm not that flashy of a person when it comes to clothing. However, I am covered in colorful tattoos, and a lot of my tattoos are very, very colorful and bright, and that is something you don't see as common in men either. Sometimes you'll see them in either all black ink or dark ink, but you know what? It's what I like because it's something that expresses me. It does not mean I'm masculine or feminine. It just means that I like those colors. It's something that I enjoy to do. So that's the sort of things, I think that's the mentality we need to think about when it comes to clothing, especially instances like this. Like, you're on the cover of Vogue magazine. Like, it's a fashion magazine. It's a couture magazine. Like, you're not on the cover of Time accepting a Nobel Peace Prize. You were there specifically to talk about high fashion trends and stuff like that. Like, it's meant to be art. It's meant to be art. So dress however the art fits. Same thing with Kid Cudi performing. Same thing with, Kurt Cobain when he was performing. It's you're showcasing art. You're showcasing your personality. You're showcasing a persona. Dress however you want, dress however you think befits your art and your personality. That is all on you. Don't worry about anybody else. This has been my corner of the world of how gender norms are absolute garbage. So hopefully you guys agree. If not, that's cool too. Just don't dump on people who disagree with you, especially in this thing. We're not hurting anyone. Harry Styles wearing a dress hurts literally nobody. It doesn't disenfranchise anybody. It doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't cause turmoil. It doesn't cost taxpayer money. It's just something he thinks is cool. Same thing with Kid Cudi. Same thing with Andre 3000. Same things with probably your ancestors throughout history. At some point, you have seen your older relatives, male relatives, wearing a dress when they were kids. It is irrelevant. It is just clothing. But anyways, that's just my thoughts on the matter. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts if you are listening on your podcast player of choice. I'd greatly appreciate it. For more information about all of the Night Shift Radio shows, please make sure to follow and sign up for the Night Shift Radio newsletter. We send about one newsletter a week, just kind of updating you on the things that are happening around the company. So it's really great way to learn, what's new to the Patreon, what new episodes are out, our brand new Left of the Dial live episodes. We have a new one coming out in 2 weeks over on the Left of the Dial live YouTube. And we've got a lot going on. So it's definitely the best way to figure everything out. And of course, if you're so inclined, you can follow me over on social media, on Twitter at @TheMichaelFight, or you can catch my Twitch streams at twitch.tv/MichaelFight. So thanks a lot for listening, everyone, and we will see you on Wednesday.